Center Ice Arena, Traverse City, Michigan, the site of the 2018 Prospects Tournament. Here the championship game. It's a 2-1 Columbus lead over the Red Wings. And joining me now, the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, Jeff Blashill. And Jeff, what are your overall thoughts of this championship game and of the tournament overall?
Well, I think first off, I thought the first period was real good. I thought our guys did a real good job. It looks like a little bit that as the games wore on, both teams look a little bit tired to me, which is fairly normal in this tournament. You're playing 4 games in 5 days, and the kids play real hard. So we need to get a little more energy back here going to the third. I think as a tournament for a whole, I've seen 3 of the 4 games. I think our young guys have done a real good job. So that means good things for us as we head into camp.
Camp starts on Friday, obviously, Jeff, and as you look at guys like Zadina and perhaps Rasmussen, Chalowski, he's been skating well. What are your overall impressions of those particular players, and can they make this Red Wing team? Are you going to look at them closely?
Well, we're going to give him a real good look. Rasmussen had a real good camp last year. I went out and saw him play at the end of the year for his junior team. He was excellent that night. I saw him play against the U.S. In the World Junior Evaluation. I thought he was excellent in that game. So he's going to get a good look. I think Zadina's been very good here. He's got obviously some real special offensive ability, but he also is real strong in his skates, which is going to be important for his success moving forward. And then he's got a pretty good defensive game already, so that's a positive thing. And I think Chalowski's been excellent out here. He's controlled the game. Every single game I've watched, he's controlled the play. The puck's on his stick. He's been a breakout machine. He's had tons of poise moving up the ice with the puck. Done really good things in the offensive zone. This is the Dennis Chalowski I saw in development camp after he got drafted. He looked like he just controlled the whole game, and he's doing that again. I think he's got lots of confidence right now, so that should be good for him heading into camp. But all 3 of those guys will get great looks.
So going into the regular season, or actually the training camp into the preseason, Jeff, what are your overall impressions with your team? What are you looking for as you go into camp coming up here in just a matter of a few short days?
Well, it's going to be real competitive. We haven't been good enough the last 2 years, and so I think we're trying to create a real competitive environment with the 3 teams that we have, and see which guys rise to the top, and whichever guys rise to the top are the ones that should be playing the most. And I think the biggest thing for us is we just need guys to continue to take steps. I think Larkin took a real good step last year. We need him to take another one. Mantha took a step. We need him to take another one. AA, Bertuzzi. Now Bert, this will be his first full year. Can he have a big impact? And then can some of these young guys step in and say something to put themselves onto the team? Hronek, Sulak, Hickett's, Chalowski, already talked about on D. There's lots of guys competing for spots there, and so we need to be better. And either our individual players that were on the team last year need to be better, or new players coming in need to be better than them in order to push us to a better spot than we finished a year ago.
You mentioned Tyler Bertuzzi, Jeff, and I remember at the end of the season after the last game against the Islanders, you said you wanted him to go back, train hard, put on some muscle. Have you had a chance to see him, and did he do those things? I
have. When Mike Cater was up in Sudbury this summer, Mike's our strength coach. He got a chance to spend some time with him this summer. I was real impressed with the training he was doing. I think he looks real good so far when I've seen him, in and around LCA. So I'm a big fan of Bert. I think he's a really good player. I think he's the type of player you need to win with in today's National Hockey League. And he creates tons of loose pucks. He wins a bunch of pucks, and he knows how to go to the net and score around the net. So, I'm hoping he can have a real big year for us. I think, when we traded Tatar, that opened up some ice time for him, and I thought he showed excellent. I think he had opportunities to finish that he didn't at times that I think he will in the future. So we're going to need him, like a number of other guys, to take a step. But I certainly think it's totally something that he can do. Now he's got to go out and do it.
Howard and Bernier are your goaltenders going into camp. And what can you tell us about Bernier? What can you tell us, the fans, about Bernier and how he plays?
Well, first of all, he's a former first-round pick, so obviously he's got a skill set. You don't get drafted in the first round of the NHL without having a real good skill set. And, if you look at his career numbers, they've been real good. And I think the one thing that's intriguing to me is the last 2 years, both in Anaheim and in Colorado, he had some stretches where he really played excellent for their team. And we just need, I think Jimmy's given us 2 real good seasons. I think he went to work a couple of years ago and kind of modified his game, and he's been real good, I would say, overall. but we also got to make sure, our games are so close every night. It puts so much stress on the goaltender. We need two guys that can do it, and it's not. It's just the reality of the NHL today, especially where we're at. So we need. I think Jonathan can step in and help us, and I expect another strong year from Jimmy.
Also, too, a few more goals would help for the Red Wing team. Do you think that coming into this season that you do have the guys, and you mentioned like maybe a Mantha or a Larkin taking that next step, that they can help you offensively by scoring goals and also make the power play better?
Well, it's not going to be one guy for sure. I think it's going to be multiple guys, as I mentioned. Lark's at over 60-some points, 63. Can he get up in that 75-point range? And he could do that alone just by being more proficient on the power play. Can Mantha get up to 30? He was 23 goals. Can Double A get into 25 goals? Can Bertuzzi score 20? Can Rasmussen make our team and score? Can Zadina make our team and score? Abby, Helmer, you got a bunch of guys that I think we can get more offensive production out of Nielsen. So it's just going to be across the board, guys providing more offense. And if we can get it, we have it in us for sure. There's guys in our room that can produce more offense. We have to go out and do it, and that in itself will help the power play. I also think adding a guy like Thomas Vanek, I'm not sure. I think what gets missed a little bit about Thomas Vanek is he makes players that are on his line exponentially better. He's just one of those guys, because of his offensive mind and because of his skill set, that whoever he plays with always seems to produce more. It was true for us in Detroit. It was true in Vancouver when he got traded to Columbus. Boone Jenner was struggling. All of a sudden, Boone Jenner started scoring. It's not by mistake. It's because he makes them exponentially better. So I thought that was a real good add for us, because I think he's going to help our young guys continue to reach better heights.
And you got to have those veterans to help the youngsters, don't you?
Well, you have to have certainly they can provide a lot in leadership, but ultimately you need the best players. But I think, as I said, Thomas is just one of those guys that has consistently over the course of his career, and certainly in the last couple of years, really shown how he makes everybody else better. I just think it's going to help our young guys a ton.
Mike Green, he's back. He had surgery. How is he doing? Is the surgery okay?
I think the surgery, all reports have been very good that he should be ready for the start of the season. I'll have a better report come the first day of training camp after all the physicals and whatnot. But everything I've gotten so far through the course of the summers, we should expect him to be ready for the start of the year, and we'll work him in through training camp and get him back going. It's been a long time since he's played hockey, but hopefully get a couple exhibition late, and then hopefully be ready to go game one.
Is there any particular player that you've seen right now? We haven't talked about McIsaac too, because McIsaac seems to be a minute muncher, and he logs a lot of time. He's hurt, not playing in this game, but your thoughts about him?
Well, I think he's done a very good job. Obviously he's not here tonight, but when I watched him the other night, when I watched him in development camp, he's what I would term a hockey player. He knows how to make the right play in every situation. It's something that's invaluable. It really comes with unreal hockey sense, and he seems to really have that. He's got a good skill set. But what separates him is he just knows how to make the right read at the right time, whether it's gapping, whether it's stepping up on a puck, whether it's shooting the puck on net. He just seems to make the right read. He also seems to have tons of moxie and confidence. So I think his future is very, very bright.
I think back, Jeff, years ago when the Red Wings had a veteran team with Yzerman and Fedorov and Shanahan, not many youngsters participated in this tournament, made the team, but now it's a little bit different, and you have to be excited about the guys that we're seeing right here, because they do have a bright future. Don't you agree?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think at this moment in time, we've got as many good young players who have a chance to become really good NHL, maybe great NHL players, as we've had in a long, long time. And it's no secret, after a while we stopped trading away draft picks. Ken decided to hold on to draft picks, or even trade for draft picks. And the more you accumulate, the better chance you have to have difference makers. And I think at this point in time, we have as many as we've had since I've been a part of the organization, in terms of a bunch of young guys who have a chance to not just be NHL players, but potentially in time become stars. Now the question is, are they going to reach that potential, and then how quickly? And neither one of those things can we answer today. But I think it's usually, in my experience, when you have a whole bunch of guys in that boat, it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. So I'm excited about that.
Talk about the division for a moment. It's a tough division, and going into the season right now, you start on October the 4th against the Blue Jackets, but what are your expectations going into this new season?
Well, it's certainly, the NHL is so tight, and the division's tough for sure, but the reality of the NHL today is that it's so close. confidence is a huge factor. Can you get out? Can you get on a roll? You know, we saw that was with Vegas last year. There's not a huge difference between the best teams and teams that finished where we did. So we just got to go about our business. We got to make sure that guys took steps over the course of the summer, that guys made themselves better. If guys didn't, we got to make sure that new players replace them, and ultimately, as a group, we got to be a little bit better on a nightly basis. And if you do that, I think all of a sudden you gain confidence, you can get on a roll. So I'm excited to start camp, and let's go to work.
All starts on Friday. Jeff, all the best in camp and in the preseason. And again, the season opener coming up, Little Caesars Arena against the Blue Jackets, October the 4th. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, we're in the second intermission. Championship game, a 2-1 lead for the Blue Jackets over the Red Wings. We'll be back with a call in the third period in a moment.